Alex Ansary here. Early morning thoughts from Adams State Normal School. Got my RV parked inside. It's okay, I know people here. It's cool. Talk about energy vampires. What have I done to create so much anger that there is now a troll army amassing? Well, maybe not a troll army. I'm going to do more videos throughout the week on some of my early life experiences to continue to narrate my story. What I want to talk about this morning is that there's something cyclical in my life where I've dealt with people attacking me around wintertime and using the fact that either I've been homeless at one point in the recent past, constantly moving, not without a home, no family obviously around me, no family ever in videotapes with me. There are people that harbor an anger towards me, which, as I've alluded to in the past, comes from another place. And it works through these people. And there have been several really traumatic winters that I've gone through. One of them was last year. And I came across a social path that did help me build a teardrop camper. But when I got away from him, stopped hanging out with him because of his abusive demeanor. I mean, it's a long story, but some of you understand where I'm going with this. There are some people that offer to help because they have a secret agenda. This person turned around and said, oh yeah, because Alex's past way back when, I'm gonna say Alex is a junkie. Because unfortunately, this other person, also by the name of Alex, had his tools stolen. And again, this is another person that, like a few others in my life, reached out to me only for his own agenda. And it really makes me wonder who I can trust when people reach out. And there's been a number of sick, psychotic individuals that I've met in my life, to put it simply. And it's interesting how when a few people are beating up on me, they'll go in all at once. There's also a few people that have been keeping tabs. Oh, I heard this. Oh, I heard this rumor. They're like keeping a log. And these people don't seem to be intelligent enough that someone's playing them against me. Like, who are you, Mr. Troll, Mr. Anonymous? You're constantly around after all the years. There was also a time period where I had moved out of Colorado and gone to Kansas City. And there was a troll at that time publishing things about my whereabouts, where I was going. Making up rumors that I'm going from house to house, robbing the house and going to the next house. Like really extreme stuff. And so we live in this day and age where the work that I've done has generated this level of animosity. And the reason why this is spiritual warfare is because it's not random. It comes all at once, and it tends to come quite a bit in the winter. And so I've gone through these almost forced marches where I've had to go from one place to another. I had people like keep tabs on me, not like, necessarily, I'm not necessarily going to say government, but demented individuals that for whatever reason are constantly there in the comment sections. And now with Costilla County, there's only more. But if you got these people together in the room, they would kill each other. Some of them are white, some of them are Hispanic. I would say it's, and perhaps there's some other groups, but I would say mostly those two. Now you have this white veteran from Portland, Oregon, who years ago I said, hey man, you should check out Colorado. He always kind of talked down to me about, my views on the San Luis Valley. But if you were to put him in the same room as some of these other people, they wouldn't like each other. It's only because some people are actually living miserable lives and they're neglecting their own spiritual work that they actually get pleasure hurting other people, because that doesn't benefit you at all. It's a sickness. It's a sickness going around in our culture. It's a sickness going around in our society, trying to strike terror into people and make people feel bad because of where they're from or their lack of income, or because during a traumatic period in their youth they made mistakes that they should be haunted by that. That's demented. That's psycho. There's nothing beautiful about that. There's nothing good about that. And also there could be another suspect behind, whoever put up the Alex Ansary arrest video. It could be someone with ties to Louis Bacon, who just has a vendetta. What I'm saying is I've exposed a number of different things at once or throughout my lifetime. I actually went to a place in Texas years ago. I remember it terrified my mother at the time. Again, I don't really have a close connection with my family, but I remember in the past, my mom used to comment on my work, and I had confronted basically a FEMA checkpoint. And it was around the time that NDAA was passed. And it's like, what is this place for? Do you have a visiting center? So on and so forth. And I've always kind of walked with a certain faith that, as long as I keep my nose clean, that nothing bad will happen. But you know what? Bad things do happen to good people in this day and age. That's actually why I brought up these videos. Because of this vendetta against me, I want people to know about the recent stuff with Costilla County and the particular officers involved. And those officers may not be guilty of putting up that video. And I mean no harm to those officers. In fact, I'm not opposed to having a polite conversation with those officers at some point. I don't know if that's possible, but I do intend to speak to their conscience when I address them in these videos. As a human being, because obviously we're not able to talk in person. And obviously people are being ran off their land. And I don't find that to be okay. And I know that other people wouldn't want to be ran off their land. The only reason that some people get involved in, hey, let's beat up on Alex, is somehow or another, they're getting off on the perception that they're causing me pain. And I think that if you're in that state of mind, you're in a really low, space. It's actually sad. And sending anger at these folks isn't the answer, but trying to share some wisdom with them. I know that when I've done certain bad things to people, bad things have happened to me. And so going back to my early youth, when I made some of those mistakes with theft and drug abuse, I chose to go through that stuff really young, 19, 20, 21. So the rest of my life could be spent doing other things. But because some of the things that I talk about are controversial, and because I have let some people control me, like that guy back in Portland, some people will act as if they're possessed and have an active interest in defaming me. It's cyclical. I've had to do a couple forced marches during the winter. One was, there was the period of helping a few con men open up a survival store. I got out while there was time, but they were basically using me and didn't really care about helping people become self-sufficient. So that was a very interesting chapter in my life, and getting used by two individuals that were involved in starting a business. And so that was actually something that I was involved in creating. This was after years of working at Ruth Chris Steakhouse and other restaurants and other grocery stores and other jobs. The real traveling that I started doing off the grid related started around 2013, so it's only been the last couple of years. But I have people come and attack me because I'm not a slave like them. And I actually don't have very much to show for my life materially, except the vehicle that I have, and that's it. So I'm not exactly rolling in it. I'm a minimalist. And I'm functioning a lot better than I was last winter. But last winter, I was parking around Portland with a teardrop camper that I made with this person that really only helped me because he had his own agenda to put me under his control and tell me to, walk around with his cell phone so he can contact me all times. It was psycho, folks. And it got to the point where, again, I stopped hanging out with him. 3 weeks later, he must have unlocked his door or left his door unlocked, and his tools were stolen. I'm not sure the details, neither is he. All he knew was the last person to hang out with him was me. And our friendship didn't exactly end up in a good space. So immediately he made me a suspect. So I was believing that I was being stalked at that time in Portland, moving from place to place. And he went to Access Television to tell them indefinitely that I was a thief, to bring back his tools, give him back his tools, thinking that the people at Access TV liked me. And in fact, I was just another bum to them, I think, except for a few employees. And so that was humiliating to me, to do that to me during the winter. I want people to know this kind of thing happened to me last year. There was a dude after me in Portland accusing me of stealing his tools. And this guy subjected me to accusations that I was a junkie. And then his friends, his military friends, probably a little racist. Oh, where's this guy from? Oh, Ansari? And it was just and the look, the physical appearance, apparently in the videos from living the home-free life, was that consistent to them of a junkie. Even though I was pumping iron at the time and doing other things and doing an Access TV show on a regular basis. I mean, that's asinine because of what I already told people about my past in 2001. Hence the Alex Answer Your Arrest video now uploaded. So I've gone through a couple winters where all of a sudden trolls have emerged out of nowhere to torment me because I'm on the road. They do it far less in the spring, in the summer, or the fall. They really start in now, and it really peaks around Christmas. I've seen the most outrageous attacks on my person spiritually around Christmas. And so, folks, for those of you consumed with this anger towards me, I'm trying to tell you there's a pattern of people acting like this, acting like they're possessed around the wintertime, that are actually somehow getting enjoyment from watching someone else's pain or attempting to cause them pain. And this is a sign of spiritual sickness. When you're on that route in life, you're on a route to losing your own soul. And your soul isn't one that's going to evolve beyond this kind of a world. You know, as long as you act like that and treat people like that, you're going to end up on this type of a planet. But that aside, it is cyclical. And so in this book that I'm going to write, I'm going to talk about all these different places that I've had to move, starting with my early childhood years. And the very fact that I would share my soul with people, like everything about me, everything, and prepare to write a book about my childhood and things I've never shared. And for people to take that stuff and go, yeah, Alex is a really bad person, to see people take that and run with it, like this is where consciousness is, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not going to go out of this world getting killed or set up without telling my life story, you know, and everything about me. So people understand where I came from, that actually have the eyes to see and ears to hear. So many do not. So many are so corrupted by their racism, by their hatred. And I know that we, as souls trying to evolve, need to evolve beyond being defensive about such personal attacks and just let it be. But I will speak about these things. And I want to come back and do a longer video about these cycles of the forced marches. But this current one in Costilla County is only the latest. Last year was one as well, feeling hunted by this stalker. Really my first stalker, Alex Owinski, also known as 8-Digit PDX, by the way. You can find him on YouTube, 8-Digit PDX. I downloaded all those videos he made in case I ever need them at a later point in time of him saying those things about me. Because it's important when we look years down the line that we see the patterns when these things rise to the surface. But one thing that you don't see out of a lot of these haters, and I rarely drink that brand of coffee, but it's what's around here, folks. You don't see quality content from them. And you don't see spiritual teachings. You see fear. Look at 8-Digit PDX. His main concern is ISIS invading. That's his main concern. In getting his own survival gang. Like he's the worst nightmare of the people of Costilla County. But notice, people will team up if they have a common enemy, even if they themselves hate this other group. They'll put aside that in order to bring someone pain. So take a look at what I've said, think about it, and how does this apply to your own life? Are there periods in time where you've exposed things or you've done the right thing and you've seen energetic backlash? Or have you tried to spiritually clear out a place? Like I've actually asked you to help me clear out Costilla County spiritually, to ground it out. And when I try to do that stuff, man, unless you're really advanced, that stuff's going to come back and hit you. That's just how it works. I know this. I've been hit so many times, counterattack spiritually, for trying to clear out negative energy. You got to be like in a really powerful space to hold that space. So I definitely see something else controlling the show, folks, here in Costilla County, in Portland, Oregon, with some of my experiences, and also ultimately why I felt alienated from Portland, a place that I feel has become a great evil. And why a lot of people in Portland, when I was speaking about these things and talking about Portland when I was there in front of Portland buildings, they hated me for it. Talking about gentrification, overpopulation, and gender warfare, they hated me for it. Colleen Romero, do you know how much I talked about how wrong it is to traffic women and how that's a huge issue in Portland? There's a whole mafia based around that in the underground. And how I ranted a lot about how we're a sick society that will just let women be victimized. Why would some of you try to torture an individual for simply trying to do what's right? It's vampiric. And if you're going to go down that life of being a vampire, you need to know there are consequences spiritually for what you're doing. Your health, your spirit, your mind, and you're wasting your time here on the earth. Really, am I really the greatest enemy in your eyes? And that honest belief in your eyes that that is the truth is disturbing. So I'll be back. We'll talk more. And yeah, it's turned out to be a sunny day here in southern Colorado.